right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages, being right versus being effective. So, as high achieving Christian men, we love to be right. We love to try to figure out who's right and who's wrong. Unfortunately, while that can work in a lot of areas in our lives, maybe work or other places, in our marriage, it just is not effective at creating an intimate relationship that we want. So my name is Mike Fraser, MD, psychiatrist and marriage coach. I help high achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So we're going to talk about today how to step out of that being right mindset and into doing something that's going to be a lot more effective for you. So effective in creating an intimate marriage, which I'm guessing you want if you're on this podcast. So wins from this week from guys in my program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages. So guys are overcoming that mosquito cycle and serving from a place of love. So if you're new to the podcast, the mosquito cycle is basically you try to do nice things for your wife. You're expecting back attention, appreciation, affection, sex. Get mad when you don't get it. You explode at her, escape into pornography or other things when you're having that happen. So guys are stepping out of that. They're actually doing stuff because they care about their wives. And as a result, they're getting back that appreciation, attention, affection that they were hoping for. And this is happening, guys, quickly in the program. When guys come in, they start shifting those mindsets, doing the exercises that the program prescribes. They just make these changes and their wife can recognize them quickly. Guys are having improvements in communication by using the mental strength model, the main tool that we use. Being able to express themselves better, understand their wives better. Guys, one guy wrote that he's feeling stronger, more confident, and closer to God, and having an increased sense of self-worth. Guys, that's really the biggest thing. When you have that within yourself, you're much stronger and you're much more attractive. You pair that with having the skills to communicate well. We're going to talk about one of those skills today, and being able to bring passion, intimacy. You're the type of guy any great woman would love to be with. Okay, the guy that attracts your wife back to her. For me, this week, I was able to find a deeper understanding of my own fears with my wife and kind of some things there. Had some good intimate conversations with her, having more one-on-one time with the kids. And yeah, kind of having some intimate, more difficult conversations, bringing up some stuff that needed to be brought up uh, for us. This is what happens. There's ups and downs. There's stuff you do. You mess up. You apologize. There's a little bit of a break in connection for a while, but then you can rebuild stronger afterwards. So what you're trying right now. So you're trying to figure out who's right. Okay. Who's doing what they should be doing in the marriage. Okay, I'm working, I'm taking care of the kids, I'm helping around the house. I'm doing everything that I should be doing, but you're not, right? You're not cleaning as much as you should. You're not taking care of the kids as much as you should. You're not having sex with me when you should be. So even if you're not having this discussion with her, if that's what's happening internally in your mind, like, hey, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing as a wife. Okay, that builds resentment. And again, internally, it's just that right and wrong thing going on. I'm right, she's wrong. I'm in the right, doing what I'm supposed to do. You're in the wrong, not doing what you're supposed to do. Okay. So again, usually you believe you're right. High achieving Christian men, they pretty much believe they're in the right. So with money, for example, they think they're more responsible with it. Their wife just spends it. With sex, they're more advanced or more open to it than their wife. With in-laws, they manage the in-laws better, or they spend more appropriate time with them or have better boundaries or whatever. With parenting, they feel like their ideas are better or they're doing more than their share. With the religion, they believe that way they believe is better, more holy, whatever. With housework, they feel like they're doing more than their share. With time, they feel like they spend their time more effectively than her. They might get mad that they're always on their phone so much or waste a lot of time. Okay, I've had all these thoughts go through my head. And a lot of the guys that I have worked with have as well. So you can just have this mindset of like, hey, I'm doing everything a good husband is supposed to do here, but my wife's not doing everything that a good wife should do. So, and then you start pointing it out either directly or indirectly. You start just saying, hey, look how much I'm doing for the kids and you're not, or look how I'm spending my time. Look, I read this book and you're on Instagram again. Okay. So maybe you're pointing out passive aggressively to her, like, the phone's a good example. Oh, hey, I'm reading this book. What are you doing? Oh, I'm on Instagram. And you're like, oh, huh. Yeah, passive aggressive way of drawing attention. Or maybe it's more aggressive, like, hey, I'm doing all this and you want to have sex with me. That's not fair, right? That's more aggressive, being more direct to it. But the problem is, you might be right. Maybe you're right about all of this stuff. Maybe you are doing more. Maybe you are more open to sex, right? All that might be accurate. But the problem is, who's right and who's wrong. It's all about one up and one down. Okay. The right person is up or superior, and the wrong person is down or inferior. Okay. That dynamic is what's happening when you come to a conversation in that right or wrong mindset. Okay. And so, look, you might quote unquote win. You might be right. Okay? But the problem is, you've put your wife down in that process. Okay? And when you're wanting to be better than your wife, it's not attractive to her. So a guy who is a know-it-all, is kind of what this is about. Well, I'm right. And your wife says something about the news, and you're like, well, actually, it's not that. It's this way. People don't really like that. It's not really attractive. When you're really focused on being right, okay, again, it's that one up, one down. I'm better than you. I know more than you. I'm smarter than you. Okay. It's not attractive. It's not attractive. Okay. But it's very common in high achieving men. Okay. So a lot of this, though, it has to do with, low self-worth. Okay. So we like to put other people down so we feel good about ourselves. Okay. That's also called narcissism, where we need that attention, appreciation, affection to feel good about ourselves. And we're all about us, because actually internally we don't have a very strong sense of self-worth. It's easy for us to compare ourselves to others. We're always in this kind of flux of either feeling superior or inferior to other people. And so with our wife, we tend to kind of put her down a lot. And maybe your wife's used to it. Maybe she's used to being in this one down position. But now you're on this podcast wondering why she doesn't want to have sex with you. This is part of it. Okay. You can be doing quote unquote everything right. But if your mindset is, I'm right, she's wrong, I'm better than her, that comes across. It comes across in your feelings of resentment and entitlement, which are not attractive to her. It comes across in your intentions of proving her wrong, which is also not attractive to her. So you can feel good about yourself, right? None of that is helpful. Okay. The other reason why right and wrong doesn't work is that telling someone they're wrong almost always puts them on the defensive. It makes them dig into their position more, and a lot of times has them start pointing out the stuff you're doing wrong. So with money, my wife and I have this discussion a long time ago. It still comes up sometimes, but I'll be like, why are you spending money on that? And she'll be like, well, why are you spending money on this and even more money on this? And then I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I guess that's true. It didn't really convince her that she was in the wrong. It made her defend herself and tell me what I was doing wrong, which I appreciate her doing that. That was the right thing for her to do. That's part of an intimate conversation. But a lot of times, it doesn't go that way. You both get heated. It just turns into an argument, and it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so some examples of this, there's a parable in Aesop's Fables about the sun and the wind, and there's a guy that's walking and down the road, and he's wearing a coat, and the sun and the wind have this contest of who can get the coat off of this guy. So the wind goes first, and he starts blowing so hard, blowing, and the guy just holds onto his coat harder and harder, won't let go of it. So that's like trying to prove somebody wrong, right? You're wrong, here's why. They're going to grab onto that coat and defend themselves really hard. Okay, versus the sun comes out next and just shines its light, and the guy just takes his coat off because it's too hot. Okay, so the sun convinced them by some tools that we're going to talk about in a minute. So again, when you come like, I'm right, you're wrong, people tend to dig into their position more. So what do you need to do instead? What you want to do instead is focus on what's effective in getting you the results you want. So most men that I talk to, what they're looking for is more intimacy in their marriage, mental, emotional, physical, sexual, spiritual intimacy. They're looking for fun. They're looking for laughter. They're looking for friendship. Okay. They want those things. So arguing who is right and wrong will almost never create any of that. Okay. It doesn't really create more intimacy. It's not attractive to her. Definitely doesn't create much fun or laughter or friendship. Okay, none of those things happen. Instead, what you want to consider is what's most likely to get you the results that you want. Now, in the program, we help you really understand why you're getting the results you want, how that has a lot to do with your, not just what you're doing, but your thoughts and feelings and actions and intentions around that. We help you get really clear on that. But to give you just a tool you can use starting right now, the main concepts that you want to do, if you want more intimacy, fun, laughter, friendship, you're going to have conflicts, but here's the way to uh, approach those is seek first to understand, then to be understood, and then get towards win-win. Ask for what you want with a reason why. If you can start doing that, that's going to be way more effective versus arguing who's right and who's wrong, like with money or with sex or with in-laws or with parenting, religion, housework. You want to try to understand where they're at first, explain where you're at, and then just make requests, ask for things that you want with a reason why. Get to those win-wins. Like those are the tools, and we learn those in the program. We practice them, and we get good at those. So why does this work? These approaches work because they go with human nature instead of against it. So you always want to start by acknowledging the other person. So let's take a money example. Okay, let's say your wife wants to spend money on the kitchen, and you want to spend it on a vacation with the kids. So the first thing you want to do, instead of coming at her and saying, well, the kitchen's stupid and it's going to get messy and it's going to be out of date, right? Telling her all the reasons that she's wrong. Instead, you want to start by trying to understand her perspective. Okay, make her argument as well as she can or better. So, okay, I could see that you're in here a lot. You want this to be a inviting place, and you listen to her and you understand why that's important to her. Okay, so now that's the sun coming out, right? She starts taking off that coat. She starts being open to your influence and your ideas. Okay. Versus when you come at her with the wind, she's going to grab on more. Well, a vacation, this and this, the kids are fighting the whole time. That's what'll happen if you come at her with, I'm right, you're wrong. Right. So the next thing you need to do as you're trying to understand her is agree where you can and understand where you can't. Okay, you don't have to agree with everything she's saying, but you just want to try to understand why a reasonable human being would want these things. Why would she want the kitchen? And not from oh, well, women are dumb and they want to spend money on this and that's stupid. Not from that perspective, but from really getting into her shoes. Why would she want this? You don't have to agree with all the reasons. Just try to understand, not from a spot of she's dumb, but a spot of she's a smart, capable, intelligent woman and she's got reasons for this and I want to know what they are. Okay. So again, when you do this, when you can really deeply understand her, it lowers her defenses. That sun coming out, she's likely to take off that jacket and be open to your ideas. So, let's say you understand her. Yeah, I see that. I can see the kitchen. That'd be great. And then you're like, okay, with this money, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to spend on my vacation. Here's why I think it'd be fun. Create good memories for the kids, all that. And then you guys work together towards a win-win. So you're like, okay, well, maybe we spend some on the kitchen and some on the vacation, or maybe we do the kitchen now, or maybe we do the vacation now. But if you don't first really try to get on that same page and understand her, it's just going to turn into a big fight and nothing's going to get solved, right? Versus when you can understand, express yourself, get to win-win, works much better. Okay, and this is how you create a truly intimate marriage. Okay, this is how you get to those win-wins. This is how you start enjoying your time together. It's these, like I've mentioned lately, and I really believe this, these little breaks that happen. So maybe it's about money, maybe it's about sex, in-laws, parenting, religion, housework, time, wherever it is, you're going to have conflicts around those things. But if you can use these tools, understand each other better afterwards, repair afterwards, your marriage actually gets stronger after these little breaks. So if you can do this and learn these skills, you're going to be doing great. But to be able to do this, you need several skills in place that you can learn in my program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages. So number one is management of your own self-worth. A lot of it dials back to that, guys. So you don't need to be right and her wrong. You don't need to be seen as superior to her, right? We got to go there first. The other thing you need is management of your own emotions. Because look, she may come at you more aggressive. So can you manage your own thoughts and emotions around that? Can you manage your own thoughts and emotions around how you're seeing her? Instead of coming to her angry and upset and frustrated and resentful, can you come to her from a place of feeling peaceful and solid? Okay. When she starts bringing up your past? Can you manage your emotions and not get wrapped up into that? Okay, then you need communication skills, the type of stuff we're talking about today. Okay, but really you need those other things first, or else the communication skills are not going to work very well. Okay, then you need some romance and intimacy skills. I'm assuming you want a intimate, sexual, passionate relationship with your wife. You need some skills to be able to create that as well. So come to Strong Men, Strong Marriages. Learn all of this. It goes in that sequence. Strong men, right? Manage your self-worth, your thoughts, your emotions well, your spiritual element, get connected with God in a deep way. Like that first guy shared, he felt stronger, more confident, more self-worth than ever. Okay, when you can do that, the rest of this gets easier. Okay, then you manage your thoughts and emotions really well, and you're feeling solid. Your wife can trust you; she feels safe with you. Okay, then we get good at communication, and getting to these win-wins, creating that fun and intimacy, and then we add on that romance, passion, intimacy piece that makes marriage special. So, come join us in Strong Men, Strong Marriages. You can visit strongmenstrongmarriages.com or click the link in the show notes. You'll fill out an application, and then we'll review that and get back to you with your best next steps. All right, so stay strong, men, and we will see you next episode.